Welcome to the special cat edition! Why? Because today we are diving into the psychology behind the success of the cutest streaming platform on the planet. Also, this is the only time you will ever see me wearing these cat ears. So, appreciate the effort. A streaming platform? For cats? No, not cat girls. I mean actual, real cats.
Huh?
Let's be honest, cats and memes go together like Dungeons and Dragons. This app, called Purrr, was created by a team in China, and it's basically a live streaming platform where you can watch and feed real cats online. Yeah, it's like a Twitch but for hungry kitties. Sadly, this project is only available in China for now, but fortunately we can use the app outside of China too. Let's hope this project spreads further. Oh yeah, and this app actually dropped over a year ago, but I discovered it like a week ago, so it's still fresh. While we all love a chunky, well-fed cat, today we are going to talk about the opposite end of the spectrum. Cats that really need some feeding. Maybe you have already seen this project without even realizing it, through memes like this, or this one. This isn't just an awesome project, it also taps into one of the biggest psychological barriers to helping others. So why does this app even exist? First, let's talk about why this project is so important. Oh, okay, the stats. There are over 200 million stray cats in the world. Can you even imagine that? Probably not. And we will talk about why that is later. Cats are the second most popular pet worldwide, so it's only natural that people want to help them. But won't feeding stray cats make the problem worse? Maybe you are thinking, if we feed stray cats, won't they just make more stray cats? Won't they just keep multiplying? And yeah, more food equals more cats equals more stray cats. But this project isn't just about feeding them. One of their key goals is also to catch the cats and nurture them, so they don't keep multiplying just because we are feeding them. What do stray cats actually eat? Some people worry that feeding stray cats will increase their impact on local wildlife, especially birds. But in reality, cats are opportunistic feeders. They are much more likely to dig through your trash, eat bugs, or hunt rodents than to chase birds, which can easily spot them and fly away. So no, cats aren't secretly plotting the downfall of all bird kind. At least, not yet. Purrr is the official app for international fans of Hello Street Cat, developed by Hi Bike HK Limited. I just had to make a video about it. Okay, so here you can see, you can basically scroll the cats and maybe try to find a cat that has an empty plate. I noticed that the lights turn on in the box only if someone is watching. So yeah, that's a cool energy saving feature. Also, you can watch the cats from 3 different angles, which is crazy. But yeah, isn't it unnecessary too many angles? Or is there never enough angles to watch cats from? Oh yeah, and you can feed the cats some basic kibbles or some fancy snacks that cost more coins. One basic feed costs you 10 coins, which means that you can feed with one account one cat for free if you collect the coins from watching ads. Though it depends, because recently I noticed I get 2 coins per ad, so maybe 2 free feeding. So, of course, the more regularly you check in, the more coins you can collect. You get bigger bonus. It's definitely ideal to use when you do something else like cook or watch TV, and you can just run the ads and collect the free coins when the ad is over. Also, you can sponsor them on some bigger goals, like improving the environment of the boxes or nurturing the cats. Additionally, and very importantly, you can check the best moments that others have captured, which is kind of crazy to see that there are so many other animals than cats, for example cute doggos or some hedgehogs. So, to be honest, sometimes I just leave the app running while I sleep because watching the cats rest is relaxing. It's like having a cozy live-action screensaver. It feels less brain rotten than just having some stream on background 24/7. But what really makes this app special? The community. There's actually a whole wiki dedicated to them. If you want to know more about the cats you can meet in the app, also about the other animals you can meet there. Yes, it's that serious. People are out there making memes, tracking the entire story of these cats and coming up with the funniest names. The most popular memes? Probably from Mr. Fresh and Mr. Show. And the best part? You don't need to spend any money. You can just watch ads like in mobile games to earn coins, which you can then use to feed whatever cute kitty you find while scrolling. It's a perfect balance of entertainment and responsible cat stalking. Not gonna lie, I may or may not have at least 6 Google accounts that I use daily just to maximize my contributions. Yeah, broke student life. Oh, and nope. As you can tell, this is not a sponsored video. So let me know in the comments if you already knew about Purr or if you even use it and which cat meme is your favorite. So now we will dive little into social psychology to explain why the app overcomes many issues that usually block us to help others. Why we care less when more people suffer. Compassion Fate explained. Have you ever noticed that when you hear about one person in need, it really tugs at your heart, but when the number grows to hundreds or thousands, it somehow feels less urgent? That's called Compassion Fate. It's a psychological effect where our empathy decreases as the number of people in need increases. You would think we would care more when more lives are at stake, but that's not how our brain works. Research shows that people donate less as the number of victims goes up, because at some point the suffering stops feeling personal and becomes just a statistic, also called statistic numbing. One of the biggest reasons for this is also something called the effect heuristic, a mental shortcut where we make decisions based on how emotionally connected we feel to something. Also, vivid mental images make us more compassionate. Did you know that the way we picture someone in need actually affects how much compassion we feel? But that empathy starts to fade when the numbers get bigger. That's why stories about one person in distress often move us more than statistics about thousands. It's just easier for us to imagine the pain of one person. But when we are faced with a large group of victims, it's harder to create a clear mental picture. The suffering becomes more abstract, and instead of feeling more urgency, we actually feel less, and we start to tune out. This is why charities and news often focus on individual stories, because a face, a name, and a personal story make the suffering real to us. Why we sometimes feel like our help doesn't matter. Have you ever hesitated to donate or help someone because it felt like it wouldn't make a real difference? That's something called pseudoinefficacy, a mental trap when we feel like our efforts don't count just because we can't help everyone. Psychologists have found that when we focus on the huge number of people in need, we actually become less motivated to help even a single person. But here's the thing, helping one person does matter. it's just our brain tricking us to thinking otherwise. Another bias that affects our decision making is the prominence effect. When we have to make a tough choices, we tend to pick the option that feels the most defensible, the one that stands out as the logical choice. For example, when buying a car, instead of comparing all the pros and cons, we might just pick the safest one because it feels like the right decision. This happens with charity too. We often donate to causes that seem easier to justify, like helping a small group where we can see a clear impact rather than saving the most lives overall. This ties into something called the proportion dominance effect, where we are more motivated to help when we can save a larger percentage of people, even if the total number of lives saved is smaller. Why we care less when others are around. The bystander effect. Ever been in a situation where someone needed help but no one stepped in, including you? That's the bystander effect in action. It's the idea that the more people there are, the less likely any person is to help. Why? Because everyone assumes someone else will do it. And when you combine this with compassion fade, where empathy decreases as the number of victims increases, you just get a perfect combination for inaction. Yeah, it doesn't make much sense, but that's how our brains work again. Bigger the crisis, the more we emotionally detach and the more we assume someone else will step in. One example could be the case of Kitty Genovese and what really happened. One of the most famous cases of the bystander effect is the Kitty Genovese case from 1964. According to news reports at the time, almost 40 people witnessed her murder and did nothing. The story shocked the world. But here's the truth. The original article over-exaggerated what happened. There weren't actually 40 silent witnesses, and some did try to help. But the myth stuck, and the case became a textbook example of how we assume others will take responsibility when we are in a crowd. Another interesting concept here is the just world fallacy, aka why we believe people get what they deserve. Ever heard someone say, everything happens for a reason? Or they must have done something to deserve that? Well, that's the just world fallacy in action. A cognitive bias that makes us believe the world is fundamentally fair, where good people are rewarded and bad people are punished. It sounds nice, right? It gives us a sense of order and justice in a chaotic world, but here's the problem, reality doesn't work that way. Why do we believe this fallacy? First, it's just a coping mechanism. The idea that justice is built into the universe makes us feel safe. It reassures us that if we do the right thing, we will be okay. Second, we hate randomness. If bad things can happen to good people, that means they could happen to us too, and that's terrifying. And lastly, it justifies inaction. When we assume that suffering is deserved, we are less likely to help. This leads to victim blaming, thinking that people in poverty, crime victims, or even survivors of natural disasters must have done something to deserve their fate. Why it's a dangerous mindset? Well, we don't have to look far to see how this belief falls apart. Imagine someone who loses their entire family in a natural disaster. What could have they possibly done to deserve that? Life just isn't a perfectly balanced moral equation. One movement that came to my mind while tackling the effectiveness of helping others was definitely effective altruism, so I felt it's appropriate to let you know that this does even exist. It's a movement that encourages people to think critically about how they can do the most good, rather in utilitarian terms. That means that the number of saved lives matters the most, while also recognizing and overcoming cognitive biases that can get in the way. What is effective altruism? At its core, effective altruism altruism is about using evidence and reason to maximize the impact of our actions. Instead of just following what feels good, effective altruism asks us which causes save the most lives per dollar donated, which charities have proven long-term success, how can I use my skills to make the biggest difference, and why do we need this movement? Well, because as we discussed, our brains are full of biases that affect how we help. Effective altruism tries to fight these biases by using logic and data, helping us see that even small actions, when targeted effectively, can create huge change. There are some good ways how effective altruism was put into action, for example, malaria nets. Because providing mosquito nets can save a life for around $5, making it one of the most cost-effective ways to help. Another thing effective altruism recommends if you want to help is to do direct cash transfers, because studies show that giving money directly to people in poverty often works better than food or goods. Another thing that is for me personally interesting is that effective altruism recommends high-impact careers. That means focusing on careers that make change in big numbers of lives. So some people in effective altruism focus on working in fields like global health, AI safety, or policy making to create long-term change. So what they say basically that someone working in logistics to help develop the site in some countries that really need it is saving many more lives than a doctor working in a high-income country seeing few patients a day. While there are definitely many counter-arguments against effective altruism, it is good to have awareness of it even existing. My final takeaway from this would be that the world is unfair and we can't fix everything. But by fighting our biases and choosing the most effective ways to help, we can actually make a difference. To wrap this up, whether you are a cat person or not, one thing is clear. Humans have been worshipping cats for thousands of years. Ancient Egyptians literally treated them like divine beings, and honestly, who are we to disrespect that? But let's be real. Some people today take the cat obsession to a whole new level. From cat cafes to cat girls in anime and visual novels, and even the endless stream of cat filters on TikTok, it's safe to say our love for cats has only evolved or spiraled out of control. But hey, that's a topic for another time. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to like and subscribe for more cool stuff to learn. See ya in the next one. And by the way, I'm eternally happy for everyone who gave such welcoming and warm comments in the introduction video and who subscribed. You are the world, guys.